Water keepers, earth protectors, stand with, standing rock, we are watching, we stand with you.
Shidine Ado Kia Ani Nisha Tohiglini Bashichi Tobahan Dashinella Dashiche Ado Kia Ani Dashinella. I'm Kari Sky, I'm Navajo, I'm from New Mexico, and I felt really moved to come here today because I saw videos of my Indigenous brothers and sisters getting maced and getting dogs attacked and getting beanbags shot at them. And I'm here because I'm tired of the systemic colonial violence that's happening. My ancestors survived a genocide inflicted upon them, upon the US government as well as the Mexican government. My ancestors had to deal with a long walk where they were forced to move from their traditional homeland to a land that couldn't do farming or anything like that. In the reservation, there's a lot of mining. It's a uranium-rich area on my Navajo reservation. And one year in Church Rock, Arizona, where I live, there was a mine and the reserve water leaked out into our Rio Puerco, and it affected the water and the livelihood of those around us, and it left so many people with cancer caused by the uranium spill, and it affected our livestock, and they were born with extra limbs, and we couldn't eat them, and it affected our livelihood. So water is life, water is sacred, and like we just need to stand with these people just to show that they're not alone.
I think it's a good time to chant "Water is life" at this building. So, follow just with me. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life. Water is life.
Wiconi.
What does it mean?
It means water is life. That's what it means in Lakota.
Over 95% of our body is water. And in order to stay healthy, you got to drink good water. When the European first came here, Columbus, we could drink out of any river. If the Europeans had lived the Indian way when they came, we'd still be drinking out of water because the water is sacred.
I know that's LaFleur. She's press, guardian of the publications. See, she's on the ground.
The people that were arrested were herded into dog kennels. They were stripped, they were beaten, they had numbers written on their arm as if they were in a concentration camp. They are trying to break these people down spiritually, physically, in any way they can. I have absolutely no idea how they found the strength to show the restraint that they have with the amount of violence that has been shown to them by the state. And just keep this going until the last piece of DAPL equipment is packed up and those water protectors can go home. Because until they can go home, we can't. I mean, we're standing out here. And it's cold and it's raining a bit, but this is nothing compared to what they have been enduring since April.
We need to go back deeper and deeper. The roots of this violence that's happening in Standing Rock now is connected to the colonial history, the industrial genocide that has been driven, and a lot of that comes from, where we're standing right here now in the UK. The genocidal policies that have pushed communities off their land, that have violated Indigenous treaties, are all rooted in the privilege that we hold by being able to live in this country. Take a step back a little bit about what is happening on Turtle Island. So with this pipeline that is going through the territory of the Sioux Nation, this pipeline was originally supposed to go through Bismarck, and that was a 90% white community. And when they asked for that pipeline to be moved, it was moved. So this is the legacy of environmental racism. So this is the root of what we're fighting against here. This goes to the communities that are the first communities to have refineries on their backyards, to have their water contaminated as well, which includes the Canadian tar sands that goes across the west part of Canada, across the east, and then goes to the Bakken oil fields and down to the south to the Gulf terminals.
At each of those points is another community of colour, another Indigenous community that is being trampled on. So there's another pipeline, the Kinder Morgan pipeline. I'm not sure if you guys saw, but last week about 100 people got arrested in Canada. And that was to sound the alarm that the Trudeau government is no different than Harper. So as many ways as possible, we need to keep this momentum going. We need to find beautiful, creative ways to work together. We need to recenter the people at the front of this struggle, and we need to find ways that we can keep that pressure on.
We are standing together, we are standing strong. There are Indigenous peoples that have come from all over this world, from all over this planet to stand with Dakota Access. There are allies that have come and lended their support, and they're needed. Right now, almost every single person in my camp has been arrested. We're running low on numbers. We need human beings to come out and stand with us. And if you can't, there are other ways you can support. You can go to the Sacred Stone Facebook page. You can go to the Red Warrior Facebook page. There are places where you can donate to send tents, to send legal funds, to try and actually have a method of rectifying this wrong and supporting the people that are out on the ground. You can come to Honor the Earth, you can come to Indigenous Environmental Network. These folks have been out on the ground for months. We've been trying to organize and keep this together.
People in North Dakota have said, that along with organizing things like this that are directly related to their struggle, they're encouraging people to organize in their own communities, not only solidarity actions about what's happening there, but fighting things like fracking, and highlight how all of these issues are connected, because these banks that are funding these projects are funding them all over the world.
Protectors in the UK, I've also been involved with numerous anti-fracking camps up and down the country, and what I want to talk about there is in terms of the state violence against people protecting the land. Now clearly in America, with the rubber bullets and everything else, the violence is so many times worse than anything I've experienced here. But it's incredibly shocking when I had one of my ribs fractured once, and then we were beaten up daily, twice a day for 4 months, blockading lorries, both in Barton Moss up in Manchester, and before that in 2013 in Balcombe. And when you are just trying to protect your own land, there's no social license, nobody's asked anybody whether this is okay, you're trying to protect the water particularly and everything else for the kids, and the next thing you see is the authorities that are supposed to protect and serve the people are actually not. They are, excuse this language, but they are kicking the shit out of you for trying to take care of your own land. And to think that in a so-called democracy, these decisions can be totally taken out of our hands, and when we stand up and say, actually no, we don't want this, to think that it then becomes a criminal act almost in the state's eyes, this state and the states, to protect something like our drinking water and our land and our kids' future, that we can be met with violence. It's really terrifying. They're managing to stay so beautifully peaceful and calm and loving is just, from someone that's experienced the violence, I can't tell you how hard that is to do. It's very hard.
Standing rock, we can see you. We can see you. We stand with 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 you. Stand with. Standing rock. Standing rock. Water keepers. Water keepers. Earth protectors. Earth protectors. Water keepers.